All right, now that I'm done acting like an incompetent buffoon wearing a jersey, I'm actually not a big jersey guy anymore. I don't know why. I'm 25 years old. I'm not really into wearing another man's jersey on my back. It just feels weird at this point. Feels a little like maybe this should probably just be for kids. No hate. If you want to wear a jersey, wear a jersey. I don't really care. At this point in my life, I'm more so not really into the jersey gang. But now that I'm done absolutely pummeling the Dallas Cowboys and their fan base and absolutely humbling them, here's something that I wanted to talk about. And newsflash, the Denver Broncos stink. We saw that on Sunday. We saw them getting absolutely humiliated, losing by 50 points. You know, the Denver Broncos stink. They're really bad. And that's not really what I want to harp on. We know the Dolphins are really good. We know the Russell Wilson deal. We haven't really harped on a ton, but we will now on the Sean Payton trade. You know, none of this is new. We've been on this for over a year. Russell Wilson, on this show, we've been on it for over a year now. He's not very good. He's washed. It's tough to say. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Don't really feel that bad for the guy. He's making $40-something million a year, $50 million a year. Russell Wilson's washed. What I do want to harp on is Sean Payton, because this is a guy who is talking a huge game. Sean Payton, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't want Sean Payton as the head coach of the Cardinals. If I would say that I didn't want, I'd just be lying. Everyone could pull up so many receipts. I wanted Sean Payton here in Arizona. I thought it'd be good for the culture. I thought it'd be good on offense. But Sean Payton now, I'm kind of learning after a few weeks, is a weird blend of old school and new school. New school being, yeah, he's been in the league for a really long time, but his offenses are normally really good, high-powered. He's worked with a lot of quarterbacks. One year he went like 6-0 with Teddy Bridgewater. Then you have Drew Brees, a Hall of Famer, worked with Jameis Winston for a stint. All of that was awesome from Sean Payton. He's a real new school, regenerative mind when it comes to the offensive world, but then there's kind of the old school. He's chippy. He's brash. He's a really demanding, rough around the edges, which is fine. Some people demand greatness and they demand it from a certain level that some people are uncomfortable with. Not me, but some people, and that's perfectly okay too. I mean, Sean Payton at one point banned Gilligan hats from his team from where I don't understand that. Banning Gilligan hats from his team from wearing them. Again, there's the old school to him, the harsh, brittle side, hurt your feelings type of thing, hate you now, love you later type of coach. But now, Sean Payton's got egg all over his face. The Denver Broncos are a real-life tire fire. And it begs the question now, which is the worst trade? Russell Wilson from Seattle to the Broncos. We're not going to talk just the deal. The contract obviously is way worse with Russell Wilson, but just focus on the trade. 2 first-round picks, guys like Noah Fant going over, Shelby Harris, I believe, the defensive tackle who had an underrated year the year before, went over to Seattle, not too sure how he's doing now. And now let's evaluate that, right? Bad trade. And then you look over at the Denver Broncos. Remember, they had to trade for Sean Payton. They gave up a first and a second-round pick for the former Super Bowl head coach. And it doesn't look great right now. And I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon. Which one's worse? First and a second-round pick for a head coach? 2 firsts, a second, or a third, or whatever it was for Russell Wilson. I mean, I heard it earlier today on the show I work with Jody Ayler on The Drive. Here on Fox Sports 910. There you go. Shameless plug. 6 to 10 a.m. You hear me on that sometimes. You can justify, and I totally believe when he said this, you can justify going and trading a bunch for a quarterback. Maybe not the contract, but can you really justify giving up a first-round pick, a second-round pick for a head coach who has been just awful so far? Losing by 50 points, giving up 70 points, that's an effort issue. That's not a just schematical issue. There is a real drift between Sean Payton and the coaching staff and the players. It's just really bad. And at this point, they're going to have to try something new soon. Sean Payton's deal is worse than Russell Wilson's trade details wise. Obviously, the contracts much different. Coaches' contracts don't even count against the salary cap. But here's a really funny fact that I learned. Last year, Nathaniel Hackett was 2-1 through 3 games with a point differential of +7. Sean Payton this year is 0-3 and has a -53 differential. I learned that today again on the Drive with Jody Ayler, Fox Sports 910 at 6:10 a.m. Again, shameless plug. You'll hear me on there. 0-3 with a -53 point differential. Nathaniel Hackett was 2-1 +7 point differential. Guys, I mean, could it be any more ironic? Sean Payton openly came out, bashed Nathaniel Hackett, and said that it was one of the worst coaching jobs he had ever seen, ever witnessed. What does that mean for you, Sean Payton? Is Sean Payton outdated? Is Sean Payton, could he get ran out of town in a few years? I mean, it's abysmal right now. You can't get rid of Russell Wilson. It's impossible. His contract, I mean, at this point, I believe kicks in next year. It's an abysmal deal. It's abysmal all the way around for the Denver Broncos. At this point, you have to tell yourself, the contract for Sean Payton is worse than Russell. Sorry, the trade for Sean Payton is worse than the trade for Russell Wilson as of right now. Of course, that can change, but the disconnect between his players and his coaches, losing by 70, losing by 50, letting them score 70, that's going to sting for the Denver Broncos for a long time. For years, people will hold up that score as a meme for years. The Denver Broncos have a real issue on their hands, and it's not fixable. I don't know what they can do. Can you take out Russell Wilson and put in whoever their backup is right now? I believe the guy who, Jarrett Stidham, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, you need a spark. The Denver Broncos are flailing, and they are drowning, and I don't think there's any boat coming to save them anytime soon.